Hello, everybody. Love to you all. Welcome to this Monday video. Happy equinox. Whether you're in the northern or southern hemisphere, equal day and equal night. Just flips around, isn't it? So it's the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere, the autumn one in the southern hemisphere. A gateway moment. And multiple layers and multiple veils and multiple timelines always kind of interweave around an equinox, a solstice especially. They're very powerful moments in time. And there is harmony and balance that gets seeded in these moments. Now, today, we're going to be talking about something which I've wanted to do a video on for a long time, but I've held back a little bit. And to be really honest, it's because of the subject, the topic, because it's very charged. It's very broad. There's much of it in the world, and there's much healing that needs to happen. And it's interesting because this Monday series that I started really started with the process of the ascension of our chakras, of our column of light. And the first Monday musings that I did, I spoke about how the root chakra, the sacral, are going through their recalibration, that the shadows of those chakras are coming forth. Because that's what happens. That's the path of the light rising, the Christ becoming, our soul ascending, right? The earth ascending is starting with the earth star chakra, which is what really happened a couple of years ago, reprogramming that. And then that still has its effects, right? It's still still happening as like a, ripple effect. And the root chakra and the sacral chakra are now in focus. And what is it really to ascend a chakra? Well, it's all those shadows, all those wounds associated with that particular chakra comes forward. It comes out in the open for us to heal. Now, why are we here on earth? We are here as physical. Well, we're here for many reasons. We're here to enjoy ourselves, to have fun, to experience physicality, our bodies, our presence, our love, made physical. Because we're just, this is light. We are light. Our bodies are light, just slowed down to a frequency that feels solid or liquid, We're slowed right down. Light slowed down. Thought made into form. The Arcturians talk a lot about that, right? Mind becoming matter. And when we look at some of the other reasons why we're here on earth, we chose to be here at this time because of the keys and the codes and the wisdom that we behold, because of the love that we have to share, because of the healing that we can offer and channel through. Now, being physical means that we have a temple, we have a chalice, we have a channel, really, through which all things move through, right? So that can be abundance, that can be love, that can be emotion. Emotion is like water, and water is always flowing. Water isn't restricted. There's no restrictions to water. It just goes wherever the easiest path is. Now, stone has restrictions. Stone has resistance. Stone has, it might have sturdy strength, but eventually the water will cut through that stone because the water has no resistance. And that is really kind of what's happening here on earth, is that the emotions are starting to cut through the physicality. The emotions are needing to rise, to clear, to heal, to create space. So like when the ocean cuts through large stones and you get caves and you get openings and archways, that is what the water is doing within us. The emotion is doing within us. Memory is returning. Now, the root chakra is about feeling safe, feeling stable, feeling grounded in our own body, feeling safe in our own body, trusting, surrendering, being in tune, knowing that we have the provision, that we have our divine inheritance, knowing it without trying to create it. But what are the sacral chakra? Now, this is where addiction is in its wounded form. This is where addiction is, abuse. All these things are in the sacral chakra. That's actually where in the body as well, the yoni or the lingam, that is where we store as humans, the majority of our trauma is stored in the pelvis, in the yoni, especially for women. We store it in the yoni because that is the space of birth. That is the cave of nothing and everything. It is stored there. And so the topic today is very much linked with what we are alchemizing collectively. And to alchemize something efficiently and effectively, we actually bring the experience through us. So, as a collective, if we want to expedite a healing process, to remove and relinquish something from the earth so that it can no longer be, then what happens is we need to welcome those shadows back home. We need to experience, to access the vibration, and we need to heal it with love. Because the only remedy for ascension is love. The only remedy for anything broken, hurt, or wounded, scarred, is love. Unconditional love. Now, love is not a physical act. Love is a vibration. It's a choice. And so, more and more, abuse is coming up. In appointments, in real, everyday life, and people that are writing to me, like the topics, it's coming up again. We saw this happen a couple of years ago where there was a big movement around sexual abuse. But now it's really coming home for a lot of people. But why on earth would we ever choose that if we really have the thought, if we really have the belief that we created our soul path before coming here, that we created those contracts, we chose our family, we chose our friends, we chose the experiences. And yes, we can impact and affect the time and whether we make that choice and have a big initiation or not. Awakening and initiation does not need to be painful. It doesn't. There's a misbelief that that is so. It doesn't need to be that. But yet, here we see arising topics such as sexual abuse. And why on earth would someone do that, right? And this content is very triggering, I know. And very moving. And it may be triggering to watch this, so please just allow yourself grace if you are choosing to watch this, because my heart bows to you for the courage in receiving these ponderings and thoughts. Because for someone to commit sexual abuse, whether that's to an adult or to not an adult, they have to be very wounded already inside. They have to have so much scar tissue within their energy field that they cannot possibly be operating from heart. Whenever anyone does anything, regardless as to what it is, but whenever anyone does anything that is not from love, that isn't a loving, graceful, compassionate, wholesome words, action, vibration, anything like that, it is coming from illusion, it is coming from fragmentation, it is coming from shadow, it is coming from a part of them who are so broken that they need help healing, their higher self is calling help. And some of you watching this may have answered that call. And some of you watching this may have experienced that type of abuse. And whenever we experience anything, such as this, there is the initial response, the emotions, the process. The process takes a long time. Sometimes it's hidden from us. We hide it from ourselves, from our memory for a long time. As a protection mechanism from that part of ourself, our subconscious self. But when it does arise, when it does happen, what do? Well, yes, the emotion that comes out, the frustrations, the upset, the vast spectrum of feelings need to be processed. But how do we truly alchemize something like this? Well, why did we write that into our soul contract? Well, often, and usually the ways those that do are great healers. We are all great healers. That's not just a category for a few people on this planet. It's all of us. Because everything we experience, we are alchemizing if we choose to. As we process our emotion, as we find forgiveness and healing for self and forgiveness for others, we clear that vibration out. We clear it out. We bring it home to love. So if someone does that and you experience it, or someone you know experiences it, that being who did it is very broken. That being who did it needs healing and help and compassion so that they can heal. But we don't always see it that way, right? We don't always see it that way because of the hurt that we experience. There is nothing that would ever justify someone's actions towards you if that's the case. Nothing. But you can choose whether that memory acts as a poison within you, or whether you choose to see it as helping them heal, especially if there's been progression from that. Helping the whole world heal. Because the only way that we heal something and clear it from the planet is by moving it through us. And enough of us choosing love over revenge or fear-based justice. This grows our own vibration. It expands and embodies our own vibration when we can choose to see that someone is very wounded and broken to do that. And for us to find a way to feel differently about it so that we know that none of our power or our innocence or anything, our purity, none of that is ever taken. Nothing that is done can ever, nothing that is done can't be undone. Everything that is done can be undone, everything. So one of the questions that I get quite a bit is, how do I forgive someone that's done something like that to me? And well, we don't see them as who they are to us, whether that's a family member, a stranger, a friend, a guardian, a teacher, whomever. Don't see them as that being. See them as a very broken, lost child, because that's the part of them which is in action in that moment. A part of them trying to find love because they didn't have it. A part of them trying to find acceptance and connection because they've forgotten who they are. They've forgotten that they are living love. They have forgotten that. And so when we remember that we are living love, that we are divine light embodied, that we come from source, and we will help remind people that we are source and they are too, healing occurs. Work with whomever you need to let your emotions process, to let your body release, to let your nervous system let go and reset. Absolutely. Acknowledgement from others is not going to help clear trauma. Because there are some that want to spread, publicize, There are people that will help. Absolutely. And there is discernment to be used and employed so that those that are guarding and holding that information that you share do so in a container of pure love so that it's got the space to alchemize into gold. Okay? So if you've experienced something like this, and this video can no way be as long as it needs to go into this in much more depth and in the depth and detail that it deserves. But if you've experienced something, know of someone that's experienced, or even see it shared anywhere, send blessings to all involved. Bless them with consciousness, bless them with healing, bless them with peace. Bless them. Because unless we can look at these events through the eyes of divine love, to offer that remedy, to fully antidote the poison, the venom that has moved through this planet, it will still remain. It is not to remain past these years. It is done. No more will it be. Love is the only solution that will help everyone receive the healing they need, so it doesn't even need to appear again. Thank you for anyone who's watching this video, sharing this video. I know it may bring up a lot, so please give yourself grace if it does, to process any emotion that may arise, to let that emotion be witnessed and heard, to be healed. As this equinox concludes and we move into the solstice, we may see these things rise up even more. Because like a snake shedding its skin, they're coming loose. Those memories, those experiences are coming loose from the crust of the earth, rising up to be cleared and healed. And how my heart bows to every single one of you here on this earth star with me. As we all chose to be here, we all have a part that we are doing to anchor love, whatever that looks like. You can't do it wrong. Just keep going.